It was about 10 o'clock at night, and I remember being woken up from our mom, and she said, "Wake up. Tim is gone. We have to find him." I know Tim is kind of an unusual name for a German Shepherd, but that was his name, and we loved him. We lived on a 5-acre farm in Oregon, and this wasn't the first time that Tim had run away. He had run away the week before, and a neighbor who didn't like dogs had put a piece of poisoned steak out on his yard, and Tim got very ill. So we feared the worst, but we knew we had to go look for him. And life on the farm wasn't easy. You know, I was only 5 years old and I was being woken up to go look for our dog when we feared the worst. We looked for a few hours, couldn't find him. And then the next day, my dad did find him and he was alive, but it was too late. By the time we took him to the vet, he had passed away. I don't remember if there was any charges pressed or anything like that. The neighbor felt justified in doing what he did, and it broke my heart. We got Mickey after that, who was an Australian Shepherd. She was a mutt, and our older brothers didn't care for her, but we loved her. She was funny, she was protective, and I had her all the way through senior year of high school. So the reason why I draw dogs, maybe it stems from that incident with Tim. I don't know. I've just always had dogs and they are absolutely beloved to me. I've met a lot of people, really cool people over the years who are dog owners. They are the nicest people. They love their dogs. They don't really consider them to be pets. They consider them to be family members. And I remember drawing different dogs, and I'm going to show them to you now. This one here, I remember doing this in 2019, and it was for my younger brother, Jeff. He was coaching me on how to be a car salesperson, and I wanted to give back. Every night when I left the dealership, I would call him up and we would talk for at least an hour, and he would give me pointers on how to sell better. So my way of giving back is he always talked about his dogs. And I remember drawing these dogs for him and sending it. And him and his wife were blown away. They said, "You captured their personality." And I had heard that from a few other commissions, which I thought was pretty cool because there is an intuitive process when painting dogs or drawing, whatever the term is you use. I use pastel. Another one, this one here, I drew for Andy Frisella. He's a big CEO, and I was trying to get his attention, and he was always talking about his dogs. And I didn't listen to my mom because my mom said, "Don't ever give away your work. Your work has value." But I thought maybe would help me get in contact with a successful business person and he could give me some pointers. Nah, it didn't happen. That's okay. This one here was kind of a different avenue than what I used to do, the pastel on the tone paper. This was actually an ink drawing, and the lady that I did it for, she loved her dog. Her dog had passed, and I would say 50-50 on the dogs that I've illustrated. 50% of them had passed on, and 50% of them were living. So it was always a very emotional process. And this dog, she missed him so much. I quoted her a price. I gave it to her. She broke down in tears and she tipped me. She tipped me above and beyond. When something like that happens, it feels like my work is valued. These dogs were commissioned for a lady in Colorado. And this one was a fun one to do. The little sweethearts were posed, but they were not posed that way in the photo. They were laying on some old dog pillows, and I just kind of made a blanket under them. These dogs, this lady is so cool. I'm going to have to send her a link to this video. Her name's Wendy, and she's pure Colorado. a hiker, a dog rescuer. She's got all these different dogs, and I drew this for her. She loved it. And I love doing it because, like I said, she's a cool dog owner. I remember in 2021 I met up with her, and she was talking about another dog she had rescued. And I was like, "Wow, do you have room in your house?" And she said, "Well, in 2020, when everyone was stuck at home, a lot of people, young people, went out and adopted dogs. And once they got the call to return back to the office, they didn't want their dog anymore." And I'd never heard of that. Like, a dog is a lifetime commitment. You don't give it back. You don't give a baby back when they go through the terrible twos. But there was a overflowing supply of dogs at the pound, and she was rescuing them and fostering them. I mean, what a cool person. So I guess my point this week is, yes, I'm showcasing the style of dog portraits I love to do. I am still doing them on a limited basis. The reason I wanted to share that story with you from when I was younger is because trauma affects the brain and the heart. Sometimes we close off when we've been hurt, and sometimes we use that pain to make something beautiful come from it. So if you're hurting or you've been through a traumatic experience, try to find ways to morph that pain and to give it back to a society that needs what you have, whatever it is you offer. If it's fostering dogs, if it's learning art, if it's volunteering at a homeless shelter, when we can utilize that pain from traumatic events to make someone else's life a little bit better, man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful in my book. Again, if you're interested in having a dog portrait, I am here. I am still doing them all these years later. And if you could like and subscribe, I love making these videos. I love sharing the behind the scenes of the work I've done for over 20 years. You know, typically artists work in a very isolated fashion. To be able to tell my story to people who are interested in art and artists, it means a lot to me. So I would love if you subscribed. I will see you next week. God bless.